I'll try.
Okay, Miss Grand Indonesia, what are your thoughts on the anti-LGBT?
My thoughts on the anti-LGBT community are actually very strong in the sense that I, for one, believe that love is love, and I don't see the problem in people expressing their love for whoever it may be, because I think that love is the ultimate power which evokes peace. And when people can start realizing that, we can one day achieve peace in our global community. I don't think that love is political or has anything to do with our economy or our religion. I think it's just simply human nature, and we should embrace it and celebrate it and be proud.
Okay. Do you support the right for women to choose whether to have an abortion or not?
Personally, yes. I think if we're getting a little deeper here, I don't know if I myself would ever have an abortion, just because that is something that is very hard to deal with mentally, from what I've heard from other people's experiences. But I have nothing against other women having abortions, because I think it can be responsible in some aspects. You know, bringing a life into this beautifully chaotic world is a big responsibility. So you have to be able to assure yourself that you can provide for that child what it needs and let it help it your child thrive.
Okay. What is your view of illegal immigration?
Illegal immigration is a little bit of a bumpy one for me, just because I don't feel like I'm educated enough on it to make like a proper stance. But what I can say is that I know it's very hard for our governments to determine who they will let into our country, who they can let out, who they can, let in and out just passively, because it is a big responsibility to keep a country secure. But also, in saying that, we have to remember that at the end of the day, we are all humans, and everyone deserves a proper chance at life. And some of these people are coming from countries where they haven't been given a chance at life at all. So we must learn to be mindful and respectful and welcoming.
Mhm. Now, when you were crowned as Miss Grand Indonesia, definitely your popularity increased. Okay. And you haven't won the Miss Grand International title yet, but then you are already getting so much attention, no, from people all over the world. How do you handle such attention that you're receiving?
Well, if I'm being frank with you, I don't necessarily think of myself as Miss Grand Indonesia or as, the Sophia Rogan. I still see myself as the person who I was before I was crowned. Nothing much has changed in my eyes when I look in the mirror. It's just sometimes it does hit me, if I do get a random boost of attention on social media from pageant lovers or my followers or fans or things like that. It does remind me that, wow, I am a part of this um, crazy, amazing industry. But I never want to get rushed up into that. I always want to stay humble. And yeah, I want to treat my followers as if they're my friends. So that's my main goal.
What do you think will make you stand out from the other girls competing in the Miss Grand International?
Well, I think that I definitely just offer a really unique take on this whole pageantry journey. for starters, this is my first ever pageant that I have ever been a part of, which is very surreal, but it's an amazing experience for me so far. And I'm also um, pretty young to be taking part in a pageant. I know I'm definitely one of the youngest girls there. Um, but I don't necessarily think that that is going to be a disadvantage at all because I may be young, but I believe that I have been grateful enough to live an amazing lifestyle up until now. Amazing in the sense that I have been opened and adapted to many cultures, people, beliefs, values. Um, I feel like I've lived 100 different lives, if I'm being honest. So I think I can offer a very interesting perspective, and I'm definitely considering myself very innovative, very progressive. I want to move forward. I want to evoke change, positive change, and I'm really optimistic about our future.
Okay. As soon as you win the crown for Miss Grand International, what is the first thing that you would do?
Well, firstly, I will probably say that the future is grand because it definitely is. I've been dreaming to say that. um, but I definitely want to really emphasize my reign on advocation because I know that Miss Grand is very grand, very spectacular, all about beauty and everything's on point. But I think one thing that we can perfect even more is advocations.
Hmm. What particular problem or what major problem do you see in your current city or state or place, and how do you intend to solve them?
Mm. Well, having lived in Indonesia, specifically Bali, for the past few years, I have really grown accustomed to learning about our environment. And I was always somewhat knowledgeable about the environment growing up in international schools. That's just part of the curriculum to learn. But actually, being on an island that suffers the consequences of a really big economy that's devoted to tourism, there's a lot of plastic pollution here and um, deforestation in terms of agriculture, in terms of making room for industrialization, things like this. So I became a lot more eco conscious and aware of what is happening to our earth. And I did little steps to try and do my part in my life. But now that I have this platform, I really want to up that game level even more and take it even further.
Wow. Okay. Uh, how would you help minimize the amount of people who are homeless?
Hmm. I love that question. It's a very wholesome question. I think shelter, having a home, is a human right. To be honest, I think I believe that governments, to some degree, should provide some type of shelter to those who are unfortunate to have lost their homes or those who are facing economic troubles to the point where they can't afford these luxuries. Um, but yeah, I think that there should be a common place maybe where people can go to feel safe and have a roof over their heads.
Okay. How will you empower young women and help them become more socially aware?
Well, empower is one of my favorite words. I have always strived to be inspiring and to empower other people, not only young women. But definitely, I think that from being authentic, being vulnerable, opening up and sharing my experiences so far in life will most likely help someone. And at the end of the day, if I can help one person, I will feel super fulfilled. If I can help someone to the point where they feel great and inspired and motivated, then that will reflect in me too.
Okay. If during your reign as Miss Grand International, things happen in your life that make you sad and uninspired,
Hmm,
how would you be able to continue inspiring others?
that's a tough one. If something did happen during my reign or during my journey, to be honest, I think that I may need time out. I think that's only human to have time out, to sit with my emotions, to prioritize them, prioritize myself, be with the people I love. Um, that's what matters. And then hopefully my followers will be on the same page as me and I can take a little break and I can come back better than ever, revitalized, and I would have learned something amazing from a great lesson in life that I could share with them then.
Okay. In your journey, as a Miss Grand Indonesia, what
Mhm.
is the most inspiring part and why?
The most inspiring part so far
Yeah, so
in
far.
my journey as Miss Grand Indonesia. I think just the idea that I really gained a very strong backbone of devoted followers overnight. To me, that's inspiring because it shows me that people have the power to band together, to become one, to unite, and it gives me hope in humanity. It makes me feel like there is a future where all of us can do exactly that. All of us can come together, not only in pageantry. It's a lot more deeper than that.
Okay. If you have the power to do one of the following:
Mhm.
first, eliminate poverty and hunger; second, a government with no graft and corruption;
Mm.
or solve all environmental problems, which would you choose?
Well, off the bat, I am drawn to all three of those. If I could have the power to do any of those, I would in an instant. But I think that if I was put on the spot, I would take the opportunity to end poverty and hunger. And I say that because we are actually at a point where we can cure world hunger. We have the facilities to do this. Um, what matters is who is in control. And I think we have to reevaluate who we put in power because a lot of the people that have power nowadays choose to put our economy over humanity. And I will always stand by humanity over economy.
Okay. What do you think is the best solution that any government could have done to address the problem of pandemic?
Mhm. Well, I think every government is doing a good job, considering that we have never been through this. It's a first time for everyone. So we are all trying to figure it out as we go. And for that, I applaud the whole world. You know, it's been a draining few years during this pandemic. But personally, I would say I would lock down my country because I want to ensure the health of my own people too. I want to ensure the health of foreigners as well as that, because protecting my people means protecting other people around the world too. Um, and only when I felt that I'm safe with the numbers and the data and things like that would I consider opening the borders and bring things back to somewhat of a reality.
Okay. How has the pandemic challenged you?
Initially, when COVID-19 became a thing, I was in Hong Kong at the time and I wasn't supposed to be there very long, but I did end up getting stuck there for quite a bit. And it was super hard for my mental health. I peaked in anxiety. I've never had panic attacks that strong in my life. I would go to bed and I would be anxious about being anxious. And it was just an unreal cycle that I was feeling exhausted to keep up. But even though COVID-19 did bring upon me a lot of anxiety, because it did that, I learned a lot about myself and I grew a lot this year and last year. And I think that is what COVID-19 has really been. It's been a wake-up call for all of us. It showed us what truly matters in life. It showed us to prioritize those things. And I hope that when things can settle down, we can remember what this pandemic has taught us.
Mm. Would you rather be a world-renowned singer or a Miss Grand International?
Honestly, I want to be both because I don't believe that life is limited to one career aspect or one opportunity. Especially for me, I get bored very easily, to be honest, and I feel the need and I crave new opportunities and adventures and stories that I can share with people, new experiences. And I think that having this opportunity to even participate in the Miss Grand International organization is going to do exactly that. And then hopefully in the future, who knows, I can venture into music a little bit.
If you were asked to give a speech to a group of graduating students who missed school physically and events like the prom and graduation, what is your message to them?
First of all, I feel you because I was also a high school student during this pandemic. It was super tough. I know how it feels to work from home in an online sense and have to study so much by yourself. It's very hard, especially for me. I'm quite a visual learner and I like to be around people. I'm very collaborative. Um, but you know what? That's life. To be honest, that's life. And I hope it taught you something about yourself. I definitely learned a lot about me, and I'm sorry that you missed all these things. You missed out on all these stereotypical high school events that we all looked forward to. But how about in 10 years from now, we have a high school reunion and we can redo all of that and we can be called the class of COVID-19.
Nice. Okay, next. Digital addiction can refer to phone, internet, or social media addiction. How would you intervene if you feel that one of your close friends has digital addiction?
Not even as my close friends, just in terms of myself, I get worried about this too because I hate feeling like I am keeping my eyes stuck on a screen. So I try to look for ways that I can limit that. I know that um, you can install timers on your apps, and there are ways that you can limit that, but you have to discipline yourself in here to be able to do that. And I think once you hit that point where you're like, okay, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna make an effort, a conscious effort to be present in this reality, in the real world. Only then will you actually put that into action with your technology.
Okay. Is it important to do the right thing or avoid doing the wrong thing?
It's important to do both, but I think it's more important to do the right thing because my mind shifts initially to a scenario of bullying. If someone is being bullied, would I stand there and let it happen in fear of being a part of the situation, in fear of getting in trouble, or would I speak out? I choose to speak out. I choose to speak out every day because I feel empathy for that person. I was that person before. I know how that feels. Therefore, I will do the best that I can to make sure no one else feels how I once felt in that position.
Okay. After having no internet for 1 week, you
Yeah.
discovered that you had more than 1,000 unread emails and can only answer 100 of those emails. How will you choose which ones to answer?
Well, I'd probably start out with emails that are coming from family, friends, loved ones, things like that. I would probably um, file all the ones that are more like spam or junk, get rid of those because there are a lot of those these days. And then I would look at emails that are more about my future, maybe, whether that be with my education, whether that be with Miss Grand, or other opportunities like that.
Okay. If you could change something about yourself, what would it be and why?
If I could change something about myself, I think that sometimes I can be quite stubborn. Stubborn would be the bad way of explaining it, but I guess the positive way of explaining it is that I am, how would you say, maybe headstrong, like I know what I want. It can be good and bad, but I wish that I was just a little more open to other people in certain scenarios, because sometimes maybe I do come across too much, and I do have an instinct in me that I want to learn. I want to learn from other people, and I'm really open to the growth. So, yes.
Okay. What event in history would you have loved to experience yourself?
I love that question so much. What event in history would I have loved to experience for myself? I can't pinpoint one, but I would have loved to experience just the whole 70s decade in terms of music. Live music, the concerts that were happening at the time, the festivals, the music festivals. I am a very creative person. I'm a very musical person. So I take a lot of pride in music. I love it so much. And there is no other feeling like being at a concert or a festival and feeling the vibrations of the sound in your body and feeling connected to the whole crowd is just unlike anything. So I would have loved to feel that in a time where rock music was at its prominence.
Okay. How would you encourage someone who doesn't care about pageants to help you with your cause or with your advocacy?
I would probably say that yes, I am a beauty queen and I am a part of a pageant, but under that, I'm a human and I want to make change. I've been blessed with this platform where I have power and influence over a specific group of people, and I want to use that to the best I can. So that's my part, and now you need to do your part to help me help you.
Okay. Do you think that being a role model gives the people the right to know everything about your personal life?
Hmm. To some extent, yes. I really want to be open with everyone, I wish I could share all parts of my life with everyone because that's naturally who I am, but it's very scary. It's very, very scary to be judged by a lot of people Um, it's frightening for me to think that there would be people who don't support me at my happiest points in life. Because when I feel happy, I want to savor that happiness, and I don't want to let someone else's opinions break down my feelings. So, yes, I would love to open up to people, but I wish people would be more open to me opening up. That makes sense.
Wow. Do you think that today's youth, actually I'm learning from your answer and I'm getting some wisdom and I'm getting some realization.
Aw,
Yeah.
yeah, these are really good questions.
Yeah. Do you think that today's youth are facing greater pressure than the previous generations? And if so, in what way?
Hmm. In some aspects, yes. I think because we are in such a modern, very fast-paced society nowadays, there is a lot of pressure on the youth, just to do better than the past generations. And I think our youth is actually handling it very well because I think the amount of change that we've experienced in this past decade has been astronomical. Like, I think our world is on such a good path for progress. Um, I'm really looking forward to the future.
Okay. Who do you think is the most influential personality today?
Well, I can't speak for everyone else, but maybe the most influential personality for me in my life, um, in the eyes of more of a public figure, would be Lady Diana, maybe, because I really loved her. I really love learning about her. And I feel like I relate to her in some ways. Being thrown into a lifestyle, a very different lifestyle overnight is tough. And even though a lot of people may assume that it's all dandy and it's all perfection and beautiful and great, it can feel very isolating and very lonely and things like that. And it makes me feel comforted when I hear, Lady Diana talk about her experience with this. Um, yeah, and I just think she was such an incredible human being. She was definitely the people's princess. So I strive to be the people's princess.
Who is the real Sophia Rogan?
The real Sophia Rogan. To be honest, when I'm sitting here and when I'm answering these questions, I really am answering them um, the best I can, just to who I truly am. I try not to overthink it. I just let what I want to come out, because my power is in my speech. This is how I let the world know who I am. Um, so yeah, this is Sophia Rogan.
Oh, okay. And what is something that you have done that you will never do again?
Something that I've done that I will never do again. Hmm. I don't know if there's anything that I've done that I'll never do again. I've made mistakes. I'll probably make them again if I'm being honest, but that's part of life. I'm okay with that. And there are things that I'm scared of that I'll probably do again because I want to push myself out of my comfort zone. Yeah.
Okay. What can men learn from women?
Well, stereotypically, I would probably say men could learn how to be more nurturing, more caring, because women are naturally more motherly, but I don't really want to focus on that anymore. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, next, last few questions. What quality in yourself are you most proud of? And how will you apply that quality to your time as Miss Grand International?
I think that I am purposeful. Probably one of the best well-rounded words that I can use for this question, or more so that I strive to be purposeful. I want all of my actions to feel fulfilling. I want to feel like I'm making an impact. I am helping. I'm doing my part. It means a lot to me to be able to have that type of influence. So that is 100% something that I want to make a huge part of my brain.
Okay, last question, Miss Sophia Rogan. How shall we see, or where shall we see Sophia Rogan in 10 years' time?
Who knows is the answer. Even I don't know where I'll be in 10 years' time, guys. But I don't necessarily know if I'll follow the stereotypical path that society feeds us, because I really want to live a life where I feel fulfilled with what I'm doing. You know, I want to feel happy. I want to feel purposeful, and I really want to have a nice emphasis on wellness, on family, on friends, on nature. So hopefully somewhere along the lines of that. Um, yeah.
Wow, so wonderful questions. You nailed all the questions that I threw.
Sir,
Okay. Okay.